Good morning, good day, or good evening to all Juventini around the world. I am so excited about this one because this, my friends, is a brand new segment here on Juve Therapy, which I simply called Let's Talk. Uh, the segment is about inviting one of the fans to Juventus, to talk Juventus, basically, to share our thoughts and hopefully get some interaction going with you, my dear viewers or listeners. You can, as always, send in your comments in the live chat. It can really be anything. It can be a comment, it can be a question, or feedback, an opinion, whatever. So to kick off this very first Let's Talk session, I've invited a guest whom I do not know very well. I know him a little bit, but what I do know is that this gentleman knows his Juve stuff, and I'm intrigued. You might remember him from Juventus Quiz 2.0. It is DJ from Juventus India. Hi, DJ, and welcome.
Ciao, Roman. Thank you so much for having me in Juventus India on your beautiful chat show.
Thank you. So DJ already introduced himself back at Juventus Quiz 2.0 and Juventus India fan base as well. So he introduced them very well during that series. So I urge you to check that series out on this very channel. So we have a lot to cover. So let's get into this. But before we do that, we'll say hi to Juventinita. This is my good friend Daniel. He runs a podcast, Juventinita. He is watching us right now. And also we can say hello to Pierre. Nice to see you. And guys, if you are watching this, and just say hi to DJ, because that's why we're here, to talk with you. You talk to us through the chat. And basically that's it. So while we are waiting for your comments and for your reactions and so on, we just start off straight away with the Mercato Summary. This has been a very, very, how I should say, interesting Mercato because of the COVID restrictions. The clubs could not spend very much money. But what we do know is that Juve, I'll just pull up this picture. I don't know if you guys can see that, but we have loaned out Daniele Rugani to Rennes, Mattia Di Ciglio to Lyon, Douglas Costa to Bayern Munich, and Hans Nicolosi Caviglia to Parma for basically for a dry loan. Caviglia, I believe, is actually a loan with option to buy or an obligation to buy. I'm not sure. But then we have Matuidi, Pjanic, and Higuain all left during the summer. Of course, Pjanic being like a swap deal with Artur, who came in along with McKennie from Schalke 04, Dejan Kulusevski from Atalanta, who played for Parma last season on loan, and then Chiesa at the deadline day yesterday, and of course Morata on loan, but I believe also with an option or obligation to buy from Atletico Madrid. This is it. This is how it looks like. In and outs. We have a lot of comments right here. Wow, this is very nice. So let's just go through them real quick before we start off with the transfers. So JK says hi. And then we have Nikhil. Sanki has a right for you already a question. Very good. And also Juventinita is also a question. So all right, let's just start off. DJ, what are your feels about this Mercato?
Well, Roman, at the start, straight off the bat of our exit against Lyon, Agnelli came out and said something very pertinent. He said that, a lot of people around him are talking about the banter around him is that Juve is one of the oldest squads in Europe. This is something that has now resonated with I'm pretty sure every Juve fan over the last couple of years. It's an aging squad with a lot of dead wood. And what is important is that, we've been chasing the Scudetto and we haven't had much competition, but everything comes with a bit of an expiry date. And it just so became that all these players, I think after a point also you were looking at players without that motivation, without the grinta. I think I'm most pleased with the way this Mercato has kind of closed last evening. I think our key objective was bringing down the age of the squad. Our key objective was bringing down wages. I think we've achieved both those goals beautifully. I do think there was a bit of a pivot mid Mercato because I think we probably needed another CM. But with Pirlo's current hybrid formation that we're looking at, I think Paratici has moved really well, and in a market like this where we were short in terms of liquidity, I think he's done a beautiful job. I looked at the breakdown of the Chiesa deal as well. I think it was very creative with the way we
very creative.
Yeah, absolutely, and this is to me. I think for me, and this is an individual opinion. I feel that as far as the Decima is concerned, a lot of people are putting a lot of hype around it. But this is the first time in a long time that I feel like Juve is actually building something. And for me, that is really, really exciting. I didn't want us to end up like a treble-winning squad Inter had under Mourinho and just implode in everybody's faces and, blow out into oblivion. We're now in a position where we've kind of consolidated our key strengths, and added not just young dynamic players, but most importantly, very versatile players. And that's what modern football is all about, and that is something that I'm really, really keen and excited to see in terms of how it plays out.
We have a comment here from Pierre. I'll highlight it for you. So he has an unpopular opinion about Sami Khedira because unfortunately, well, for most of us fans, unfortunately, he stayed. We were not able to terminate his contract, and now breaking news today that he is not even included in the Champions League squad this season. So unpopular opinion, since Khedira is staying, I think we should still use him here and there. He has always been super hardworking, professional, and can undoubtedly help our young midfield. What is your take on Sami Khedira, DJ?
Hi, Pierre. I think Roman, he's a World Cup champion. He's been captain of his national team. Personally, I would expect a little better from a player of his caliber. For me, in many ways, he knows what's coming with the territory. When the club has approached him to terminate his contract and he continues to want to stay on, clearly he's holding on to the money. He knows what's going to happen. They're going to probably relegate him and make him train with the Primavera. He's okay with it. He's okay being excluded from the Champions League squad. So I feel that there is a bit of lack of motor. This is not a player with ambition, and I'm amazed that player is Sami Khedira because he's a global player. He's a player of a world standard, but I expected better really. Players like him, that caliber, you kind of expect that the club is kind of requesting you. These are people who've employed you for a long time. You haven't really delivered because you spent a lot of the time on the injury table, So very disappointing with the way he's behaved.
I see the comment here from Hutch from China, by the way, if I'm not mistaken. Khedira can do all that. Under 23 team, yes, he can do that. But the thing is that what is so disappointing about this Mercato, if there is anything, is that we weren't able to cut his wages off the wage bill. No matter how many times we've tried. And the guy seems, from his point of view, this is understandable. He's under contract and it's a big contract. So at the end of the day, the fault lies with the club. So why did we extend the contract when we did it? He was already injury prone when we did it. So once we extended the contract, we knew that he will stick to us through the end of the contract because nobody will want the guy who is injury prone. And now this is the result. So he will not be included in the Champions League squad. He will most likely not play many games for us anyway. Maybe he will feature in one cup game, if anything. But this is basically a waste of money.
Absolutely, fully agree. Yeah.
Yes. So as I said, he's not included in the Champions League squad, but we have young guns like Portanova and Frabotta who are included, which is nice to see also. So we are in a transition period. And we have a lot of questions about Chiesa. Guys, we will get to Chiesa. I know this is a big topic. This is a big, the biggest signing for us on the transfer day deadline. So just to break it down for you, this is a 2-year loan deal. First off, the first season we will pay 2 million euros, and then the second season we'll pay 8 million. And at the end of the second season, we will have an obligation to buy him at 40, if I'm not mistaken. So this is, as DJ perfectly said, this is very, very creative marketing and also accounting, because of course, not long ago, Chiesa was worth 100 million by Fiorentina manager or the directors, and now suddenly we're all the way down to 50 or 60. So we'll get back to Federico Chiesa, but the other guys that we signed this summer. First off, Arthur coming in and Miralem Pjanic leaving the club. What's your take on that transfer?
It's going to take a little bit of time before we can actually pass judgment on it. But by the looks of it, I think Paratici has pulled out a bunny out of the hat. This is, to me, just to exchange a player like Pjanic with somebody who's about 10 years younger, almost. I mean, I think they've got an 8-year gap, if I'm not mistaken, or 7 maybe. But to make that kind of exchange with a club like Barca, I think hats off to Paratici again. I think it's brilliant. Obviously, both clubs, signal a plus Valenza at the end of it. But I think Juve kind of would come up on top if Arthur manages to stay fit. Whatever early indications we've had of Arthur, I think the man, he's a terrier on the ball. And that's what you need in the midfield, somebody who it's really hard to take the ball off. It's something we've missed for a very long time. With that kind of dynamism, I'm really looking forward to seeing Arthur play. Yeah, I'm just hoping though, having said that, the little bit of a caveat is I'm just hoping he doesn't have any attitude issues. That's something I'm personally concerned about. But if the club DNA and the club around him can kind of instill a little bit of leadership and mentor him, I think, we might just have a gem on our hands.
Yeah, and this is also a player, like you said, we lacked. What we lost with Miralem Pjanic, we gained with Arthur and more. And also, we have a comment from Nikhil there. I think Arthur can be a great addition as he's very good at ball control and doesn't lose the ball even in tough situations. Yes, that's exactly what DJ said, and I think this is the player who will thrive at Juve, because here we have a coach who has played exactly the same system, exactly the same position. And I already seen some videos with him talking to Arthur, with Andrea Pirlo and Arthur talking to each other. So this is the perfect coach for him, in my opinion, right now. So I really hope he develops further here and loves his life, both off and on the pitch, because on the pitch is fine, but already now with 2 games we have seen him 20 minutes, that's it. So of course off the pitch also important.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yes, and then we have a guy who we have a question from Juve Daily, by the way. Hi Juve Daily, nice to see you here. He is from Canada. So Weston McKennie, this is the question. To be honest, Kwana, and let's be honest here, DJ, have you heard about this player before?
Oh, very honestly, Roman, absolutely not.
No.
Yeah.
Nobody heard. I mean, very few heard about this player before. And this transfer at all came very sudden. We didn't know who it was, and suddenly we were all over Google trying to find out about the player, who he was, YouTubing the guy, and we found out that this guy is apparently very good at recovering the ball. This is what we knew. Do you feel that this is a reality right now after seeing him against Sampdoria and against Roma? Do you see the future for this guy, and how do you feel about him? Like the question is.
Honestly, Roman, like you said, the way the deal went down, it was like overnight, and there's only one thing that struck me at that point. This deal is so specific that this looks like a very specific player request from a guy like Pirlo, and Paratici just went out and cracked the deal. Obviously, from what I've read about the club, Schalke going through all the trouble that they were going through, there's no way they would have sold a talent like him for the kind of number that we tapped him in on. And I think that says a lot about McKennie and his growth in Europe. Obviously, being an American footballer, he did play American football as well. Through college, I was reading about his thinking, and I think that athleticism will do us a lot of good in the midfield. What we saw against Sampdoria is what we think he can do, and I think what happened against Roma was what he really can't do. So we've kind of factored in his key strengths, but we've also got a slight glimpse of his limitations as a player. I think he can't be given so much responsibility so early on. But this guy, if he's nurtured, I think the comparisons with a player like Edgar Davids might well be justified. But of course, we've got to give him time. We've got to be patient, and that's where I feel a guy like Pirlo will do justice to talent like this. I'm always in favor of coaches when they have like a specific player in mind. They have a vision for that player, and more often than not, those visions kind of come to pass. So I'm looking forward to McKennie's future at Juve. Yeah.
That's very, very, very interesting, because there was a question right here from Pierre also. I'm curious who was the one who found McKennie. Was it really Pirlo? Well, it certainly looks like it, because he was very, very active during his first press conferences about the fact that he wanted to recover the ball quickly. And he didn't have that player in the squad. And then suddenly, 5, 6, 7 days later, we have McKennie on the medical. So, and what are his strengths? As DJ said, also recovering the ball. So I think this is a Pirlo / Tudor, maybe with Paratici. It's very, very cool transfer, very unknown, under the radar. I personally love it. And I mean, this also, DJ, this is the thing is, if this doesn't work out, this is a low cost.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. So let's not forget Pirlo spent some time in the US. So obviously he kind of knows the player.
Yeah, that's a very, very good point. Nikhil also there. I think McKennie can be used as a second half player where he bringing more energy to the team. Yeah, that could be very well be the case. It really, really depends. Really depends on what Pirlo will do during the game. Will he play 3-5-2? We will go back to that. We'll come back to that a bit later. 4-3-3, whatever. But so far, promising. That's all we're gonna say. Promising, but a lot of work to be done yet still. And then we have this. We're moving on to the next player. This is a very big topic. It has been the big topic throughout the whole summer. As soon as Pirlo arrived, we knew that Gonzalo Higuain will be leaving the club. We knew that we needed a striker. We saw that clearly against Novara during the friendly. We need some striker. And then there was some talk about Luis Suarez, Edin Dzeko, Arkadiusz Milik, even Moise Kean was rumored back to Juve. Suddenly, in space of 24 hours, basically, Alvaro Morata arrived for a medical, and then he signed initial loan deal from Atletico Madrid. DJ, talk me through your thoughts regarding the striker position and what we ended up with. What do you think about the outcome and the alternatives that we had originally?
I think it was a bit of a saga. I think literally, if I read it from my perspective, I think like Dzeko was always the original choice for Pirlo. I think Morata was also always in the background because they kind of knew that he was looking out to kind of move out of Atletico. His wife being Italian, that connection continues to remain. Though, I mean, Suarez would have been my first choice because a lot of people bash him a lot at Barca. But to me, there are very few bombers, considering this generation and the one past. There are very few people with the kind of skill that Suarez has. And I think Lewandowski and Suarez are one of a kind. So I think even an aging Suarez would have been an upgrade on Higuain. Um, that said, I think once that fell through, I kind of feel like Roma and Napoli were in cahoots with the Milik and the Dzeko exchange to try and screw us over. So clearly, very clearly, I feel like Juve went for an alternate option in Morata. He's a guy who knows the club. He's a guy who's played in the league. So they're kind of using that to understand. It'll be a discount in terms of how quickly he adapts. Though, if he would be my first choice, personally not. But he brings two key skills to the table. I don't think he's the goal scorer we were looking for, but he's the kind of player who helps your pressing game because he's a runner. He's also a guy who can overlap Cristiano's role on the left wing forward role. So I think from that point of view, great versatility with a player like Morata. Is he the ideal bomber centre forward? For me personally, not. Though I'm not underwhelmed with his addition because I think he'll bring a lot of dynamism to the play. He'll also create a lot of space for, as long as the goal scoring duties rest on a Ronaldo and a Dybala, I think Morata, from that perspective, will bring a little bit of value.
I just have to say hi to Harper there, all the way from Trinidad and Tobago. I love when Harper arrives in the chat because when it's written Trinidad and Tobago, I just feel warm. And the sun is on my skin. It's so nice. Trinidad and Tobago. I love you. Thank you, Harper. Thank you for joining, as always. So going back to Morata. I mean, this is, of course, Juventus. Daniel, Alvaro Morata was a solid pickup again. The signing was creative. Indeed, it was. Suarez had a good first game for Atletico. Yes, he had. But then again, they faced a very minor team also. But Alvaro Morata looked very, very, very rusty against Roma. But we can also understand that because he hadn't played in 3 months. He played only 18 minutes in the game against Lyon, I believe, in the Champions League, and then that's it. And there was a break after the season from La Liga, and then they played the Lyon, and then that's it. So this is it. So Morata was rusty naturally, and hopefully now he will get time with Pirlo. He will spend some time with the teammates at Juve, so he will get back into fitness. And next game is away to Crotone, so the good chance that he will start that game and gain some fitness, gain some match training. Personally, I feel that as DJ, I agree that it's not the striker, the goal scorer, the bomber, the fox in the box, call what you will, but this is, again, a versatile player that we could use on the left, could use up front, and also by the looks of it, Kulusevski might be used also all the way up front. So we don't know. It looks like a very dynamic formation from Pirlo. And Alvaro Morata, I mean, he loves Juve. We know this. He arrived and he is buddies with Dybala. Apparently, his wife or his girlfriend also is good friends with his. Yes, exactly. So there is a lot of stuff that makes sense that Alvaro Morata is returning to Juve, but we will wait and see. Pierre also comments back that he didn't want Pirlo, Suarez or Dzeko due to being 33 plus years old. Yeah. And this is actually a very good point, DJ. The age.
So
there it is.
Roman, to the point of age, it's like I was saying earlier, this bomber is a dying breed, the classic number 9 that we've grown up watching. So what you see in guys like Suarez and Dzeko, they're conditioned by a very different game than the one we see today. Which is why their skill set still is very unique. When I think of a bomber under 30, there's nobody I can think of. Maybe Immobile comes to mind, but he's not really that caliber. If I had a personal view on Suarez and Dzeko, I would say Suarez just for the skill, though Dzeko would bring something very unique to Juve. You know, what a guy like Ronaldo or even a player like Dybala, they need to come closer to goal and they need someone to create space for them in the box. And I think Dzeko's hold-up play is second to none. You know?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
from that
exactly.
perspective, it would be a different dimension. But that said, no regrets on Morata.
Yeah. All right. Guys, please keep coming with your comments right there. It's very, very nice. We have a comment from, yes, Daniel, that says Pirlo shouldn't have played him. That's clear. Well, Pirlo said that regarding Morata, that the only way to gain match fitness was through gaming, through basically playing. So that's why he started them. And of course, he did look good, but there was no choice since the COVID made that happen, that we had so few friendlies, and Morata arrived that late. Question is, the things, of course, that we know now, we didn't knew back then that he would fail. He would not play that well. But it was just a shot from Pirlo. Let's see. DJ, question for you, DJ. Where are you from? The guess is from France. Nah. This guy's from India.
I'm from India, mate.
Yes.
Namaste.
Yes. Namaste. RB Combs is there. Ciao, Roman and DJ. RB Combs always present. Nice to see you. We are doing well. And we will do better now, because now we are really... Did we actually talk about everybody except from one player? Or... let me see. Kulusevski. Let's talk Kulusevski before we go to Federico Chiesa. This transfer was... well, I have to be fair and say that even myself, I criticized that transfer back in January, because it was so strange. There were no rumors coming in about this player. The only rumors that were that he was going to Inter. And then suddenly we swept in, stole the player, but now he looks like a real deal. Talk me through your emotions and what do you think about the player?
Absolutely the same, Roman. It came out of left field, didn't see it coming. All I was reading in the press was there's a tight link with Inter. They were getting really close, and next thing I know, boom, we've triggered a clause. I think 35 million or so was the clause. Personally, I thought that we're spending a lot of money on. You know, I was wondering where our priorities were, because I'm wondering, you know, we're so desperately in need of a central mid, and suddenly we're just splashing the cash on this 20-year-old kid. I didn't personally see him as a starter, but again, it was thought-provoking in terms of Paratici is a great scout. He may not be great with the money, but I know he's a great scout, you know, and I back him on that. So I was a little, you know, taken aback in terms of the amount we spent on him. But, you know, given that Paratici was the one after this kid, I thought that he may have a bit of a future. There was a little bit of apprehension typically with anybody who's 20 years old. You don't see them walking into a Juve team, you know. And I'm so happy to see that has changed now. We're understanding that the European game is no longer what it used to be. You know, we have this elitist mentality of, you know, you've got to be a World Cup champion to walk into the Juve lineup. Really, no, it's not about that. It's about the grinta. It's about being hungry. And I think that's really what I want to see now as a fan. I don't want to see players who feel entitled, you know, living off big salaries and really doing nothing on the field. You know, I want to see players chase the ball when they lose the ball, like they care about the jersey. And seeing a Kulu, for example, I think that he's got a great future ahead of him. Great future. Somewhere, I also think that it helps that he's not Italian. You know, the weight of the shirt, the Juve shirt, is not as heavily imbibed on him, you know. So I think from that perspective, I think he'll grow a lot quicker than an average Italian 20-year-old in a Juve lineup.
Yeah, also the fact that he already played in Italy for quite a while, so he knows the league. And the way that was actually quite ironic, because when we signed the guy, I thought this is just an okay player. He didn't impress me that much. He was very random, some good performances there, but then he was very off the next game. But then after the COVID lockdown, when the league was reopened, he was sensational. He was absolutely brilliant for Parma. But by then, we already signed the guy, so we struck gold right there.
Absolutely.
So it was fascinating to see our own talent making the headlines, but we haven't even played the guy. So he played basically for Parma, and now he arrives at us. And what do you know? The first goal for new season, Kulusevski, opening goal. So and Cristiano
And
himself.
What a beauty.
Indeed, and also showcase his quality right there. Cheeky left foot, lovely skill. And Cristiano himself even said that him and Kulusevski will score a lot of goals together. And when it comes from Cristiano Ronaldo, you have to take it.
Absolutely. Also, Roman, you need a player like Kulusevski in the final third, because these are the kind of players who there's a lot of interplay and movement behind them. They're channel players. They move a lot between the lines, and
true.
that is what modern day football needs. I love the way he cuts in. I love when he plays narrow. He's brilliant with his hold-up play. It's beautiful to watch. It's just about mentoring these guys. And I think there's no better the coach at the moment than a Pirlo.
Yeah.
He's not bringing any baggage as a coach, so he knows he's going to be using his instinct and gut a lot, which is where I think he'll make a great mentor, for these kids.
I really, really hope so. Lord Bernardeschi asking a question is he's not wondering where you're from, DJ. He's wondering where I'm from. Lord Bernardeschi, Norway. I'm sitting in Norway. So there you go. Also, a question from, or basically just a comment from Hutch, our Chinese friend. Pirlo needs to stop playing Kulusevski at the right wing back and Cuadrado as a left wing back. Comment on that, DJ.
Well, I fully agree. Cuadrado shouldn't be anywhere on the left. Clearly imbalances the team. I think his defensive work rate gets affected, though his ability to cut in gets affected. Cuadrado clearly belongs on the right. I think also it's been very clear from the get-go that Pirlo has wanted somebody for the left lane. And I did believe, even after we signed Chiesa, I did feel like there's somebody that is going to show up. I also feel that we were probably in the market for Emerson Palmieri. It probably fell through at the death, but we continue to need someone on the left. So I'm very keen that Frabota gets a few minutes and continues to grow, because again, the early signs have been very promising. So he's someone to look out for. Hopefully, he's not a youth product from if I remember correctly, but he is someone that I hope gets enough opportunity.
Yeah, I think the rumors actually are that Federico Bernardeschi will be tried as a left wing back alongside, of course, Alex Sandro. Intriguing idea, but we know nothing about it because Bernardeschi has been injured for quite a while. So we'll see if that succeeds, if that actually is the answer to Bernardeschi question that we all are asking. What is going on with Bernardeschi? Where is his best position? We've tried him everywhere. So now next step is left wing back. So we'll see. So let's see. We just go through the comment section here. Kairab is saying hi, Kairab, by the way. He needs to be beside Ronaldo. Yes, we agree on that. We covered that last comment as well, that he has nothing to do at the right wing back. Not only because he doesn't fit there, but also his qualities are much more to use when he's closer to the opposition's goal.
Absolutely.
So for me, it's a no-brainer. But we'll see. Maybe this is just touch and go from Pirlo. He's learning how to work with his team. So, question from Rahul. Nice to see you as well. Who can be the perfect partner for Cristiano Ronaldo in Juventus, like it was Benzema in Real Madrid? This is realistically, right now we have Morata. DJ, does that answer the question?
Well, I think it would have been Dzeko, but like Robin said, we have Morata, so that's what we're going to have to work with. The upside of that is Morata has played with Ronaldo. He clearly knows his movements. He knows his pattern of play. I also think because Morata is comfortable moving out on the wing, I can kind of sense a lot of interplay between them. So yeah, and the only thing is Morata is not the guy that you're going to expect to bang in the goals. It's going to have to continue to be Ronaldo, and as long as Morata can provide that, I think they'll get along just fine.
Yeah. Let's see. We're going back to. We'll come back to the formations and the best duo for the midfield. We can do that now. Actually, let's talk about our best duo of midfielder. Manish is asking. Sounds very Indian to me, by the way. it could very well be. But anyways, nice to hear from you, and your question will be answered now. So let's talk about our best duo of midfielders. So it looks like Pirlo is using the double pivot, basically a two-man midfield, and then Ramsey just in front of them, at least for now. I suspect when Dybala will be back, Dybala will take over that role, or maybe Kulusevski, and then Dybala will be next to Ronaldo. We don't know. But what's your take on that duo situation, and who do you think will be the best partnership?
Roman, I feel like this answer lies in the fact that Pirlo got early indications from Rabiot Benta. When I think he senses they're not really Manzalas, and what he wants in that double pivot is to give them a lot of defensive responsibility while giving the attackers in front of them freer roles to move around and interplay, which is why you'll have either a Ramsey in the hole, or you both fall back and get forward, or you'll have a Kulu playing narrow and you'll have Ronaldo and Dybala up top. I think that would be Pirlo's first choice, because that's how he's ascertained he wants a double pivot. If we look at the team in a 4-4-2, when we're defending in the current hybrid, I feel like I would be very curious to see how Benta and Arthur kind of do together. For me, we're currently trying a McKennie and a Rabiot. I think Rabiot has been in phenomenal form since the lockdown. Though I feel that Arthur and Benta is what I want to see before I can, sense in my mind who the best are in the double.
Yeah. We've seen also reports from Pirlo that Bentancur basically is not starting because he has played so many games last season and was basically exhausted. So this is why we only saw parts of him against Roma. But we would have seen him against Napoli because he was in the starting lineup for that game. But Rabiot, this is a question from Anonymous Ali, also regular from my channel. Thoughts on Rabiot? He's got quality for sure, but he seems so reckless in tackling. I don't know. What's your thoughts on Rabiot, DJ? Especially for the past season, because it was a Jekyll and Hyde performance from him last season.
You're absolutely right. It's also, we have to factor in, like Sari had said, he hadn't played for months on end at the time that he kind of made the move to Juve. And when that happens, then you're adapting to a new league, you're adapting to a new team. That itself kind of takes a little bit of time. And I think the lockdown kind of served him well, because when he came back, he was a different player altogether. It's like we almost had a new signing in many ways. That goal against Milan blew my mind. I've always seen him as a more static player pre-lockdown, but I think it really works for him when you see him move. Also, I'm really impressed with the way he uses his body. He uses his physicality to create effect. Though I do feel, like Ali is saying, he is a little bit temperamental, and I think that has to be managed a little bit, which I don't think is a problem. There are some players who just need to feel the love from that sense of security in an environment, and I think Juve kind of gives that and brings that to the fore. So I'm not kind of seeing him misbehaving. I'm not seeing him have disciplinary issues. He does need a little bit of management, but I don't think it'll be a problem. And I'm looking forward to kind of seeing Rabiot grow, in this midfield.
Interesting. Last season, it was very anonymous performances from him at the start of the season. There were very few performances that we saw the real Rabiot. He was very almost like he didn't care. That was the feel. And then we were bashing the guy. And when this story came out about him not wanting to take the pay cut during the lockdown, that really pissed some fans off, because this is a player who doesn't perform on the pitch, and now he's making it difficult off the pitch. So sell him. Even Everton was rumored to buy the guy already. Then luckily, I say luckily, because he was much, much better, probably our best midfielder after the COVID lockdown, strangely enough, because then he showed character, the will, the passion that we lacked from him.
Right.
So this season, we just wait and see. Of course, this is also a work in progress, a new formation, new teammates. And his red card against Roma was, of course, not stupid, but it was very immature in some ways, because yes, we saw that he got a yellow card, and it was ultimately it wasn't Pirlo not seeing that before. We all saw that this is going to be a red card waiting to happen. So
Correct.
Please sub him off, please. But he didn't do that, and then the reckless challenge, and boom, red card. So this is it, but we will see. Manish says he's from Nepal. Yeah, close enough. Really, really close enough. Okay, so we are going to... yes, the comment from Adam there. Bernardeschi can work as left back. I can see him as Zambrotta. Well, hopefully, my friend. Hopefully. Zambrotta played as a right back and left back. But Bernardeschi... I mean, DJ, of course, if Bernardeschi succeeds, we're all for it.
Well, I think Roman Berna has been a bit of an enigma. I think when he came in, he was like a fan favorite. In many ways, there were a lot of people who were like, "This is the guy who's going to eventually succeed Dybala. He's going to be our number 10." And there is obviously a flair and a natural talent about him. I feel like Berna has, in many ways, he's just mentally collapsed as a player. It's just like the environment isn't working for him for some reason. And I'm hoping a change of coach kind of gives him that new motivation and self-belief, because we've all seen the kind of player he is on his day. I mean, it's not easy to forget his performance against Atletico, when we came back to win 3-0 in Europe. I think Ronaldo had the goals, but he was my man of the match, and I think that was our best game of the season, and that was probably the best performance I've seen by a player in that season. So I'm just hoping that he just, for him, really it's a mental issue. I don't think it's really about where we play him on the pitch. So
I really hope it is. I really hope it is, because the mental feature things. Well, hopefully we can easily fix, rather than the fact that he's just basically not good enough. So yeah, for sure. All right, so we've done with Kulusevski, Artur, Morata, all the bang, but Federico Chiesa. This is a player that Juve and Merda and Milan, I mean, many teams in the Serie A wanted the guy for quite some time. And at the end of the day, it looks like Federico Chiesa only wanted Juve. So he got that Juve transfer. It is, as we said earlier, this is a 2-year loan and then an obligation to buy after that second year. So it's a 5-year contract in total. Talk me through it, DJ. What's your opinion on Chiesa, both as a player and the worth, the price tag? Some fans are saying that this is a expensive transfer in total, because it is at the end of the day 60 or 50 million euro, of course spread throughout the 5 years, but at the end of the day it's a lot of money. And also, will he do us any good? Will he improve us? Where will he play? Over to you.
Well, with Chiesa, I personally don't think he's a world-class talent. I don't think he's the kind of player who's going to be worth 150 million one day. But what you've got to love about him is that he's a player who brings a lot of dynamism to the team. He's the kind of guy you want on your team, because he's the guy with the tireless work ethic. He's the guy who's going to go rampant up and down that flank. He's the guy who's going to sacrifice himself for the good of the team. He's going to play multiple positions wherever you expect him to play. You want him to play AM, he'll do that. You want him to play RW, he'll do that. You want him to play RWB, he'll do that. And I think with all of that, he'll do it to great effect. So again, but Chiesa is a really young guy, and what we need to do is just manage him as a talent. Keep in mind he's an Italian, so when you're an Italian and you're inheriting a Juve shirt, there's a lot of weight. So these are the kind of players who kind of need to be just carefully molded to the environment and not feel that heft of expectation where you feel like one failure is a failed career. And in many ways, I'm just hoping that's not what's happened with Berner. Now the upside and the joke is now we have two Federicos instead of one. So we're just going to have to ensure that both of them come good this season. So I feel like Cuadrado is really where Pirlo felt he needed a backup, and I think this season I'm just my hunch. I think we're going to see Chiesa play second fiddle to Cuadrado before eventually taking over that role.
And the price tag, what do you feel about that?
Roman, I think in a post-COVID market, I think 50 million was a bit much. But I think Fiorentina were gunning for 60. So somewhere you had like player will, which kind of nullified the 60, brought it down to 50. Juve clearly have wanted him for a while. There's no secret. It's a well-documented, transfer. I think 40 is, according to me, a legitimate price. Pre and post-COVID, I don't think Chiesa is worth more. But in in markets like this, when you're buying talent, you're really paying for potential. So there is a bit of an opportunity cost. I think 10 million too many, but it's okay in the long run,
It's a good buy. Adam says this is a good buy. The way the deal is structured, it allows you to enter the market again in January. I doubt that we will do anything in January, to be quite honest. I think this is it. This is the team that we will play with and hopefully win the 10th in a row. And Chiesa's deal, in my opinion, this is an expensive deal. And I personally didn't like the guy originally. I always felt that this was an overrated player, very good at the offensive part of the game, but the defensive one, there was just legs. There was nothing else. No physicality, no positioning strength. He could run. That's what he did. And also the diving aspect, that it was too much. He dived too much, and basically it was very frustrating for me to see. So this is why for me I was a bit skeptical. But then this season it kind of grew on me. Of course, only 3 games, but still, it's only grew on me. So there we go. Also, Chiesa should replace Cuadrado on the right. Jay says, I lost DJ, by the way, unfortunately, but I will continue this one. Chiesa should replace Cuadrado on the right. Cuadrado taking ages to make a pass or move. Slow thinker. There we go. DJ is back. I mean, this is hi Jay, by the way. This is also a discussion between the fans. Should Cuadrado stay as a starter, or should he just either be sold? I mean, of course, he's not being sold right now, but at least stay on the bench, because this is so a frustrating player to watch at times. I don't know, what's your comparison between Chiesa and Cuadrado, DJ?
Yeah, my number one problem with Cuadrado is he's a very poor decision maker. I love his work ethic. I just love how tireless he is. He's really, really, under Sarri, I think he made that right back role his own. I was really impressed with the way he adapted. And I think in many ways, Pirlo obviously saw that he kind of needed depth, for a player like Cuadrado. And I think which is why Chiesa was prioritized. For me personally, on the surface of it, I didn't think we would go for a Chiesa when we were playing with a 50 million deal. I thought we would probably prioritize a player like Aouar. But this happened, and clearly there's again a Pirlo thought behind it. It is the right kind of depth for a player like Cuadrado. He's also aging. Let's not forget he's not young anymore. He's not getting any younger. So he does need a replacement. I think Chiesa is going to come good if he just does what he does, which is the tireless work ethic, and he just plays with himself, plays to his strengths. I think we may have somebody who can own that flank for a few years to come.
Yeah, All right, questions. Just come on, guys. Ask us some questions. We have a lot of questions already, but keep them coming. We will go to. We'll discuss the Champions League, of course, the draw, the squad, everything. Let's see. Of course, the tactics as well. Bilal is there as well. Hi, Bilal. Here's a question from Bilal. Paratici is he's going to stay after the board meeting, or is he going to the same fate as Marotta? I think he means. So, if you guys, if you're watching this, you probably know the rumors have been throughout the whole summer that Paratici will leave Juve, and Roma looks like to be the next destination for the guy. But the way we talked about this, DJ already mentioned it a couple of times, that Paratici did such a great job during this transfer market with the restrictions that the club has in regards to the economy and whatnot. But the things that we are seeing now, that actually he can do a good job, starting to creep in on us and think maybe maybe he should stay. And should he leave, who will be the replacement? I don't know, DJ, what you think about Paratici and his future?
For me, Roman, I feel like Paratici was given too much to do from the time that Morata moved on. Paratici has always had one key unique strength, and that is understanding and scouting talent. My understanding was that Morata really wasn't on board with the arrival of Cristiano. He's very old school in that sense, which is where Agnelli wanted to make a team that is more modern day European in terms of the kind of players that we bring in. Morata clearly comes from a much more Italian mindset. He wants a more central Italian core unit. Paratici is more about, somewhere in the middle, where he understands the importance of the Italian core, but what he prioritizes is talent. And that talent can come from anywhere in Europe, which I think works, which is fine. What are you going to do in a generation when the Italians are inept in terms of the talent coming through? So it's only right that you sign a Kulusevski. So what if he's not Italian? And I think Paratici has done a fabulous job under the circumstances. Having no money, having to get rid of all the deadwood. Of course, granted, they're all just dry loans. Save Rugani, I think we get about 1.5 million, for that transfer. It's temporary, he'll probably come back. But the upside is he's going to get a bit of continuity. It's going to drive his value up when he's in the market again next season. It's clear he has no future at Juve, for better or worse. The only deal that concerns me a little bit is Douglas Costa. He is someone I'm a huge fan of. I think on his day, he is the most talented player on our team. He excites you in a way that very few players can. But unfortunately, with his injury woes, I don't know what's going to end up with him going to Bayern on a dry loan. We're offsetting his wages for a season, but he's back again next season. We already have Chiesa, to double up between Quadrado and Costa. So I'm a little concerned about that. But again, under the circumstances, Paratici has done a fabulous job, and I can't fault him. I would be very, very sad to see his back, especially going to another Italian club. I would actually be, sorry to see that. Though Cherubini or Cherubini, if I'm pronouncing this right, he is being, there's a rumor about the fact that he's going to be having a lot of say in the transfers as well. Though I feel like Paratici does a great job. He just needs somebody to kind of walk him through the financial aspect. In many ways, the role that Morata played as, GM and CEO.
Yeah. With in regards to Paratici, this is a very interesting story with Paratici. Is that it all started way back when Cristiano Ronaldo signed. I think Marotta was not in favor of that signing. This is the signing that came from Paratici, and it was clear to see that the divide started when the Cristiano Ronaldo was signed, and then Marotta left. And then we have Sarri appointment, and of course that failed, and we signed Pirlo. So the Sarri appointment, this was on Paratici and Nedved. I'm not sure it was Nedved involved that much, but Paratici for sure. He wanted Sarri. Agnelli did not want that. So Agnelli, of course, is not so happy with Paratici in regards to that, because we basically wasted a year. And now the clear mind of Agnelli is that Andrea Pirlo is the coach. That's it. Paratici was not in favor of that. He wanted Pochettino. I think he even wanted Zinedine Zidane, and rumored also Simone Inzaghi in there. So these guys were all on the block rather than Andrea Pirlo. But at the end of the day, the president decides. So there we go. So this is where it started. But as you say, DJ, this is a transfer market, a very special, very unique transfer market. And we succeeded with whatever we had in mind, basically reducing the squad, losing the deadwood, and reducing the age average. So, yeah, I agree with you totally. This is he's done a great job, and I would also be sad to see him leave, not only because he's a good talent as a sporting director, but also I don't know who this guy Cherubini is. Is he as good or even better? So this is an unknown territory. But Paratici already kind of is in the game, already knows the fact that what we need, what we lack, what we have already. So, yeah.
And let's not forget, Roman. I mean, he's also the reason why we have De Ligt today, because he worked so hard on the De Ligt transfer.
Very good point.
You look at our core today. You've got some of the best young talent in Europe. You've got a Kulusevski. You've got a McKennie, if that turns out, you've got De Ligt, you've got Demiral. All of these are key Paratici signings, and that cannot be overlooked. This is not Morata's work. In fact, Morata's work is what Paratici is grappling with at the moment.
That's true. Yes.
Khedira is the extension that Morata, all these players, when they're aging and Morata keeps renewing their contracts, that's what Paratici is grappling with at the moment. And, having that on your plate and still delivering what he has, I think you can't fault the man,
Yeah, we have also some comments here. GT Game Tech, Paratici did fantastic work this Mercato. Yes, we agree. Also, we have some questions about Aouar. Will he be coming or not? DJ? No?
Wait, he's not coming in Jan. I'm quite sure of that. I feel like Juve does have an interest in him, and seeing the age group of the players that have kind of filtered in, I do think Pirlo will keep an eye on him. I think Aouar is just the kind of player we needed. Considering we're playing a 3-man mid, let's see how this season develops. And thank God he's not been sold to Arsenal, because there was a lot of links happening on that front. So I think it's fair game next window. Of course, football changes a lot. Let's see the kind of season he has. He has another season to develop in the team that he's comfortable in. So I think it works out best for everybody involved.
That's a very good point regarding to the next season, because we also tend to hype, all the fans unfortunately tend to hype up the player too early. So Aouar being maybe one of those, I hope not, but maybe that will be the case. The same for me personally goes for Manuel Locatelli from Sassuolo, even though he looks like a good guy, but I want to see some continuity with him, playing time for Sassuolo also this season. If he's continuing to develop, then we'll see what happens with him in the future. Same goes for Aouar, and also as one of the comments here earlier, he's just too expensive. By the looks of it right now, of course, during this transfer market, everybody wants money straight ahead. So Lyon wanted too much, and at the end he stayed. And of course, as you say, Arsenal was also interested, but at the end they ended up with Thomas Partey from Atletico Madrid. Yes, so I think this is it for the Mercato. This is a very busy Mercato, and we're just rounding up an hour of our stream. So well done to you guys if you watched us throughout so far. By the way, breaking news today already, probably you already know this, but Federico Chiesa will wear number 22 shirt. Of course, he had 25 at Fiorentina and number 14, I believe, for Italy. So 25 is already taken by Rabiot, so number 22 for him this season. Yes, so we played 2 games so far. We have Juventus against Sampdoria, Kulusevski, Bonucci, and Ronaldo goal scorers. Against Sampdoria, very easy-looking game. to the eye. A slightly more difficult one against Roma, 2-2 in the end. Veretout and Ronaldo scoring 2 each. And then we have this nonsense with Juventus against Napoli, DJ. Let me just update everybody. If you guys don't know what it's all about, let me just update what happened, because this is a story that is just culture drama at its finest. It is no culture without any drama. So here it goes. Napoli played Genoa a week and a half ago now. They won 6-0. Lorenzo Insigne got injured during that game. Later, Genoa players were tested positive. Then Piotr Zielinski, their midfielder, got tested positive for the COVID virus. Before Elif Elmas, plus also one staff member, got tested positive as well. So at the end of the day, they had Lorenzo Insigne injured, Elmas and Zielinski positive to the COVID virus, both midfielders. Then Napoli allegedly were denied permission to fly to Turin by the local health authorities, ASL. Later, there were some doubts over that if the document even existed or was legit. Then the document, of course, appeared on the social media with a stamp and the signature, everything, a signature of a good friend from Aurelio De Laurentiis, of course. And up until now, there has been a battle of the blame between the league, ASL, Napoli, and of course, Juve, for some strange reason. At the end of the day, this is the league who needs to make a decision, make a stance, as the rules, to me personally, are quite clear. So Absolutely. if you have a 13 players in your squad, including a goalkeeper, you play. That's it. And right now, breaking news, of course. Well, not so breaking, because today was supposed to be the day where they decided what to do with this game, because Napoli eventually never showed up, and it ended up being just a farce of 45 minutes of nonsense on the pitch. So no decision made today. Probably will be not done tomorrow. If it will be done tomorrow, it will of course be appealed, and the circus will continue. DJ, what is all this? And what's your take on this? What's your opinion? What should be done? Should you be given a 3-0, a walkover, and Napoli deducted points? What's your stance on that? Yeah, and try to be objective.
No, very objectively, Roman. I feel like the rules apply for everyone. And if Torino the week prior, Milan the same week, if they've got positive COVID cases, they're taking to the field and they're playing. And you have to factor in the way this season is going to play out. No team is going to have the luxury of having COVID cases and not finishing their schedule. And the only way to regulate the schedule is going with what the league has chosen to follow, is UEFA regulations. If you have 13 players and you have one goalkeeper, you're good to play. Is Napoli going to do this every time they have a positive COVID case? Because they're not going to finish their season. And I think it also comes down to blatant disrespect for teams around you. I'm not just talking about disrespecting your schedule with Juve. It is convenient that you don't have Insigne, and you're going to come in there and you're going to play with your star player. But you're also not respecting the fact that there are other teams that have had similar cases and taken to the field. So full marks to Juve. They maintain protocol. They announced on their website that the team will be showing up at match time. They said that the match day will continue. They issued a starting lineup. Everything went by the book. So 3-love, 100%, no doubt. I'm not sure you want to give those 3 goals to Ronaldo, but 3-love.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, of course we're gonna give it to Ronaldo, because of course just to keep the peace between the fan clubs of Cristiano and Juventus, of course. Rahul there says that he also agrees with us. They followed the protocol, did nothing wrong. The rules are clear. The latest rumor is that there will be no points. There will be no points to Juve and no 3-0 victory, but it will be a point deduction to Napoli, and the game itself will be played at a later date. That's what I've heard. It's not confirmed, of course, and as I said, this is a circus that will go on throughout the season. Maybe this will actually be the game that will be played after the season, the last game, because it will drag on. And De Laurentiis will probably not give up that easily. But yes, as you say perfectly, I mean, nobody complained. Milan, they didn't complain when Zlatan was out with the COVID. And of course, they didn't complain because right now they are leading this Serie A alongside Atalanta. So, yeah. But this is just... this looks very, very strange, but so typical from Italian football.
Well, and I think also this is it's also certain types of clubs. I don't expect this from most clubs. ADL is he's a little bit of a character. I feel like he was a producer in his time, a great director maybe, if at all. But I think really he should have been an actor. I think he'd do a fabulous job with all the drama able to create for everybody.
Yeah. Really, and also he can be criticized heavily for showing up to the board meeting or the president's meeting or something, being positive.
Absolutely.
Yeah, true. Hutch says there we have more key players out than Napoli, and that's actually a very good point here from Hutch, because this postponement does not hurt us that much. It actually favors us, because we were, well, to be quite honest, we were all over the place against Roma. We were lucky to draw, thanks to Cristiano and his 2 goals. But De Laurentiis should be quite comfortable going to Turin, fully well knowing, without Lorenzo Insigne, it makes it a bit complicated. And of course, on top of that, you have 2 midfielders missing. But still, if you're going to beat Juve away, this is when you beat us away, because we are at our weakest now, and from this point on we will only get better. So I'm not sure if this is a good option for Napoli. To be quite honest, I don't know what they were thinking.
And especially when you keep in mind that they're coming off a flyer against Genoa, 6-0, and you see a Juve that's coming off 2-2. Clearly, in some parts of the game with Juve's defense being all over the place again, those transitions worried me a little bit. But this is, like you correctly said, I think it works in Juve's favor beautifully. Pirlo gets a little bit more time with the lads, to help them imbibe his pattern of play. So, I think if this match is, though I'm still skeptical, I feel like Juve will be awarded the 3-0, and I think Napoli might be docked a point. I don't see the match happen, but if it does, I think it will probably be more in Juve's favor than Napoli.
Yeah. So let's see what happens. Of course, we will. Social media will, of course, update everybody as soon as the news kick in, as soon as possible. The question from going back to our previous topic, we got the Mercato. Lucto asking the question: how can we say that this is a successful transfer without getting fullbacks? DJ.
So, hi Lupto. So, I was of a similar opinion, but like we were mentioning earlier, I think Pirlo coming on board has kind of changed that. When I look at the way he's setting the team up, the fullbacks are really hybrid players. So you're looking at a 3-4-1-2, and you're looking at a 4-4-2 in defense. Those are players that, when I look at Danilo playing an RCB, he's pretty good when you just strap him down to just the defensive aspect of the game. Really, what you need is a proper wing-back play. And I think that's where Chiesa has kind of come in. That's where we have the depth with players like Sandro Frabotta and, like we discussed earlier, Bernardeschi. So you're not really looking for an out-and-out fullback in the current scheme of things, which is why I feel Chiesa is here to address Cuadrado's depth problem.
Yeah, I agree, because we have basically enough depth with Chiesa coming in. We have Cuadrado and Chiesa on the right, Frabotta, Alexandro, possibly even Bernardeschi on the left. So I think we have enough coverage. Also, bear in mind that we have Danilo, who knows how to play a right wing back, so he can assist. And just have to say hi to Pep Guardiola. He is, of course, in the chat. Nice to see you, Pep. Really hope you will be. Yes, I really hope he will coach us sometime in the future. Nice to see you, Pep. Yeah, going back to this comment. Danilo, also, we have a comment earlier in the chat about Danilo and his surprise shift to the back three. This is one of the first things that we saw with Pirlo, that he will play with the three center back formation. And I mean, this is very interesting. Also, the fact is that Demiral is not there, but rather Danilo. I'm not going to scroll up to see the question, but we will discuss it still. Danilo versus Demiral. Why is Danilo playing and not Demiral, in your opinion?
Because Roman, as long as Danilo is in that lineup is not essentially a three-man back. It will continue to be a four-man back, because you're looking at Danilo as the RCB, but let's not forget that the person playing wide out on the left is going to fall back in defense and play that left back role. So, which is why essentially it's a hybrid. So as long as Danilo is in that three-man seat, yeah, I'm pretty sure we're essentially playing a 4-4-2. So that's really where it's coming from. You take Danilo out, I feel like eventually Pirlo is going to want to try De Ligt, Bonucci, and Chiellini. So Chiellini is probably going to have a couple of, you're going to have Demiral backing up Chiellini, but you can also have Alexandro back up Chiellini in that role, quite the way Danilo is doing right now on the right side. You know, so as far as I'm concerned, essentially it is like a four-man back.
Yeah. And also the fact that, personally, my personal opinion with the Demiral is that I see Demiral. Well, I'm still on the fence, to be quite honest. I'm still not so sure about Demiral's quality, because we've seen him so few games, and the games that we've seen, we know that he is aggressive. He has no nonsense player. He reminds us all of Paulo Montero from back in the day. But he still has a lot to learn. I remember, if I'm not mistaken, against Udinese or Sampdoria, he started, and the first thing he did was concede a penalty, if I'm not mistaken. So that's also a thing to consider, that he is a work in progress, and also factor in his injury, nasty injury, but came back. Looks like he is back to 100%. But we still want to see him play, of course. But by the looks of it, he will play behind. I mean, Chiellini, Bonucci, and De Ligt come before Demiral. And Pep comments that when we recover Demiral, he could play as a right back as well, how he did at Sassuolo. I actually didn't know that he played as a right back at Sassuolo. So yes, that's a good point.
Yep. Well, he covers a lot of ground. So whenever you play him, whether you play him as RB or you play him in the center, he covers a lot of ground. What is great about Demiral is, at least the early indications is, again, he's a modern day defender. So he kind of is the kind of defender you want in the center of your defense in a high press game. Because guys like him and De Ligt, really, they push the line up, and, which is what you want to see. Ball recovery happening not in your D. You want to see it happening somewhere near the midway line. Yeah,
true. And of course, Demiral is a quick player, fast on the ball. So of course, we're not going to expect surging runs offensively from Demiral, but this is a solid defensive choice. But still, as I said, early days. We'll see what happens. Hopefully he will get some playing time sooner rather than later.
Correct.
Before we move on to the next topic, we just have a comment from Game Tech. Ramsey will be such a good asset if he keeps his form from the first match. What's your take on Ramsey, DJ?
Well, he was. He was the player we were waiting for in terms of what I saw against Sampdoria. But my problem with Ramsey is that he's one of those very injury-prone players that. And he has a huge responsibility on the pitch. This guy gets injured, then you're lacking a little bit of depth there. You're going to have Kolu back him up. You're going to probably have Dybala back him up. So I was a little concerned that we closed the Mercato without a Ramsey backup. To me, that would have been Aouar also in many ways. Though if Ramsey can play anything close to what he did against Sampdoria, with that work rate and with that ability to create, I think we have a winner on our hands. Hopefully he stays fit, So yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing, really. That's all about fitness. And well, he looked, of course, out of position basically against Roma, but the whole team did as well. So we can't really blame him for too much. This is ultimately all on Pirlo and his inexperience so far. But yeah, we'll see. It's still early days, as I say. Last question: do we even need Morata? I'll just answer this one real quick. We covered it earlier, but yes, we do, because we need to have somebody up front. We need depth up front, and Ronaldo can play off Morata. If not Morata, it could be Dzeko, it could have been Suarez, but at the end of the day, we needed a striker. So we got Morata. Of course, we can criticize him for his performance against Roma, but out of shape, out of form, 2 months without playing time. So
yeah.
Just be nice to him for the next 2-3 weeks, and then we can judge the guy, really. Yes. So after we covered the Napoli update, we have the Champions League draw. We had it last week on Thursday. This is our group, DJ. So it's Barcelona. We meet again. Of course, we meet again. This is almost ironic because Arthur and Pjanic switched places. It is the clash of the goats, as they say. It is Messi against Ronaldo yet again, and we have the minors. Well, with all due respect, it is Dynamo Kiev and Ferencváros from Hungary. Yes, talk us through this, DJ. This is the group, and overall, the whole Champions League draw. It looks very exciting, very unique, but all groups look exciting.
Well, there's a key matchup, across the board. When you looked across the groups, there are some very, very exciting clashes coming up. Speaking about our group G, I think Juventus, Barca obviously are favorites. Dinamo have Champions League experience, so let's not forget that at home they're a little tricky in the winter. So you want to look out for that. I think Juve Barca also has a little bit of a shadow with Messi and Ronaldo. It's kind of like the GOAT versus GOAT swan song, because you're not going to get many more opportunities to kind of see them on the pitch together again.
Yes, indeed.
Against each other. Though, funnily enough, Juventus and Barca, even though it's a battle of the GOATs, they're both teams in transition. So it's anybody's game. I think home advantage is pretty much out of the window when you don't have a spectator set coming in. I think if I understand correctly, there is a certain percentage in terms of crowd that's allowed into the stadium on these match days. So I think Barca having the bigger stadium might have a little bit more of an advantage there. But I think Juve, to be honest, from whatever I've seen in terms of Pirlo's approach, I feel like Juve can nick both games. I definitely expect them to nick one, probably followed up with a draw. I would be disappointed to lose to this Barca. Though Barca at home is Barca, so there will be a little bit of they carry a little bit of weight with them in terms of what they've achieved over the years. So but I think Juve and Turin should have this one. Maybe a 2-1, and maybe then a 1-1 at the Nou Camp. Dinamo is really the dark horse. I think they can upset the apple cart in terms of who finishes runners up and who finishes first. Ferencváros, am I pronouncing this right?
Ferencváros, yeah.
Ferencváros. So as far as they're concerned, it's too much of an unknown quantity, Roman. I feel like Juve always struggles with a side that's a bit of an unknown quantity, because they don't really know how to manage the game. Against teams like this, they sometimes just put their foot off the pedal, and you kind of see this team's got a goal out of nowhere, and then Juve's at it again. So they struggle to concentrate in matches like this, but I think they know full well what's coming to them with Barca and Dinamo.
Yeah. In regards to our first game is actually away to Dinamo. and it is at the end of this month, 20th of October. So luckily for us, we will not face them in December. So there is something at least. But yes, of course, Barcelona is the matchup. It is, and we have also coming in some even bets or prognosis of where we will end up in the group. And my good friend RB comes saying that we will actually win the group. Sorry, this is the wrong one. This is the one. RB comes saying Juve will win the group, and we're coming Barca, Dinamo Kiev, and Ferencvaros at the end. Yeah, it looks like the most logical tip. Kenneth from, I think this is the Kenneth that I spoke to briefly, from Norway as well. He says that we will end up in second place. That could also maybe. But the matchup between Barca and Juve, that is what is the real highlight of this group. If we're going to beat them at home, I don't know. Hopefully, yes. Away could be a draw. I would be happy. I mean, as you say, I would be disappointed if we lose both. Well, very disappointed. But I'll be very surprised if we win both as well. Just because I don't know, it feels just so unreal, to win against Barca away. So mighty, the mighty Barca, and also the fact that it's Cristiano against Messi. Davide says that we will end up undefeated in the group. That could also maybe. The question to you, though, DJ, do we have a deep enough squad with enough quality to go all the way to the final? I know it's early to say right now, but what do you rank us to, as opposed to, for example, Bayern Munich, Manchester City, PSG, those big clubs with big players? What's your take on it?
Roman, it's again, let's factor in the way this season is going to play out. There is going to be a lot of interruption with COVID. The form book again kind of goes out of the window. Where Juve stands at the moment is we're a team in transition. I would be very surprised if we were to win the Champions League. Clearly, I think even the board don't have that kind of expectation when they're bringing in someone who's never coached before. It's a very unrealistic expectation. But that said, as far as the team goes, we're a very thin squad in terms of number. But there is for me personally, I think this is a deep squad. It's a deep squad in a meaningful way. When I look at the bench and I look at, we're going to have one of Arthur or McKennie to come off the bench. I mean, how did we end last season? We had our final two subs were Olivier and Danilo. I'm sorry if you remember that game that we lost. It was silly. But when I look at this squad, it's a young squad with all the stop-start interruptions. We're going to have a very fit team, and that is something I think that can make a difference in Europe, because again, European football also is a lot about attrition, physical attrition, and you've got these players who are young. They're primed to be breakout stars, most of them. So I'm expecting us maybe to obviously get beyond the group comfortably. Again, keep in mind, the game against Dinamo really sets the tone for what's to come. It's Pirlo's first Champions League game. I know he gets a win under his belt. The temperament of the team there will be a shift in gear. There will be a shift in mentality. We factor that in. And once you're in the group stages, again, the upside is Pirlo has no emotional baggage as coach. He's going to go gung ho. He doesn't care who the opposition is. He's going to play his game. And he may adapt to the opposition as a tactician, but I think it's great that we have like a young team, no fear. Unlike what I saw with Sarri against Lyon, in the first leg, it was a shocker. But you'll have here you have some. I mean, I think it's probably I don't remember any time in recent history that you have a 20-year-old, 22-year-old American kid come in and start Juve's season opener. Wow, when did it ever happen that like a 20-year-old? If I remember, even Higuain, we bought him at 90 million. He didn't start his first game at Juve when Juve kicked off the season. So this shows.
This is totally different season, a totally different situation, and we actually have players. Frabotta, let's talk about Frabotta. I mean, this is a guy who'd never, ever in the life started for example, Allegri or Sarri for that matter. But now he started the first game against Sampdoria, so it's surprising, refreshing, of course. But the player we haven't talked that much of yet, DJ, is of course Cristiano Ronaldo. How important is he for us this season, and in terms of also the Champions League and the experience that he has towards the guys like Kulusevski, like Chiesa, who has basically zero experience?
You know, Roman, before Cristiano came to Juve, I mentioned this to you earlier. I wasn't much of a fan because I always saw him as an individual. But everything I've seen of him ever since he came to Juve, you know what really strikes me about him is his very impressive discipline and work ethic. You know, and I love to see that in a player. He's not a guy who's got Messi's natural talent, but which is why you really tip your hat to him, because he's still up there with the number of Ballon d'Ors. He's still up there with the number of Champions Leagues. He's still up there with the number of goals, because he's a guy who adapts. And I think that is really what's unique about him. This season, for me, I think Cristiano is more important than ever. Juve has been more of a team before Cristiano came. We became a little imbalanced to accommodate him. You know, all our attacks were then centering around him. But this season, I think, since his arrival, is probably the most important season as far as Cristiano and the Juventus relationship goes, because he's going to play that mentor to a relatively young team, you know, to a young, fearless team. And that's going to work in his favor, because this team is going to run ragged for him. You know, they're going to run, they're going to create movement for him, and he thrives with that kind of movement. That's something he's been lacking in the last 2 seasons. You know, if you've seen how tired our legs have been in the middle of the park, and you see like a guy like McKennie now doing all the dirty work. You see like a guy like Bentancur running up and down. You see Ramsey hit his stride. I think all of this works beautifully for Ronaldo, and Ronaldo complements the team because he's the guy who's got the big game mentality. He's the guy who's going to play mentor to these young kids. You know, I think Dybala is going into his role beautifully. Hopefully that renewal comes soon. Yeah. So yes, to me, Ronaldo plays a very, very important role this season. You know, and help integrate the youngsters as well.
I see that Signor Juventino, my friend, just joined the chat. Nice to see you. Young with more hunger and dynamic. This is about the previous topic regarding to our young players in the squad. He thinks that this we may be better in the Champions League than in Serie A. That's a good, interesting take. Do you agree, DJ?
I would tend to agree, Senor, because I feel that the Serie A again is. For me personally, again, it may be an unpopular opinion. I do feel Inter hold a little bit of an advantage in the Serie A this season. You know, Conte's done the dirty here and now in terms of the signings. They're older players, but they're there just for the depth. You know, let's not forget we have a 5-man sub rule this season. These are the guys who bring that little bit of experience to the team he had last season. That was a little bit in transition. This season they've had a little more continuity. Juve is now starting to build. So I feel like Inter probably has the edge, and I'm okay trading the Decima as long as I know we're building something concrete, and we are. So to your point, Senor, I feel like yes, that fearlessness probably has a better chance of coming good in Europe ahead of Syria.
So let me get this straight. You'd rather win the Champions League rather than win the 10th in a row?
No. That's not what I mean. I'm saying that the way the team is in transition right now, I think the youngsters, because of how fearlessly they play, they probably have a shot at a knockout tournament, vis-a-vis something that is going to require a home and away format, like a league format. I think there they lack a little bit of experience to go to the finish line. Keep in mind, Pirlo's got to do 36 more games, right? He's a guy who's a novice. We've seen he's got a great tactical brain. But, you know, you've got to give him, he doesn't have the experience in terms of finishing a league. He doesn't have the experience of physically managing the team across the line. Keep in mind, there's COVID. There's likely to be more intermittent stop and go. managing all this needs a little bit of experience, and I think therein Conte has a little bit of an edge over.
The difference now between last year and this year, of course, is this year we have a very inexperienced coach, but his staff, however, Igor Tudor already coached, already managed. His tactical analyst, I think, also is one of the best in the game, and also got a great medical staff at his disposal as well, I think. Yes, so he's got a cover around him. So the bubble around him is good enough. So he can only grow from this, in my opinion. So I really believe that this will do good in the end. I would be very disappointed if we end up sacking the guy after mid-season because we've lost too many games. I don't know. I hope not, but we will see. I see Mirgan just joined the chat as well. Nice to see you, Mirgan. He says that does Inter... Oh, question actually. Inter has an advantage because of the coach or the team that they have. Yes, DJ just answered that one. I hope you heard that one. So yes, the answer to the question is yes. Unfortunately, it is. Well, basically both, because the team is slightly better, slightly more compact, slightly more. Lukaku, for example. I'm not going to make this into a Merda TV, but Lukaku is a vital player for them. I can see. I saw their game against Lazio, and without Lukaku, he is their main focal point going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Conte has their ideas with the team. They are a little weak. They're a little off in defense from whatever the early indications have been. But again, to your question, Mergen, I feel like it's a bit of both. It's the coach and the team. The team is a little set. The coach has the experience of winning Scudetti rather, and I think you would have to, give them the advantage, realistically speaking, which I'm okay with. I much rather Juve build for the future than implode into oblivion with an old aging squad.
And that's totally fine as long as I don't care who is ranked as favorites as long as we win at the end of the day. Going back to Cristiano, question from Animesh: will this be the last season of Cristiano at Juve, or we will lose him for free in 2 years? Well, that's a very good question. I don't know, with this COVID situation. If this is the same next season, I really hope not. But if it is, I don't think that anybody could afford the guy at this very moment. Maybe next season. So that's my take. So he could very well stay for next season.
Well, I'm fully expecting Ronaldo to see out his contract. But whether you look at 2 seasons or you look at next season, eventually, we're not going to recover much in terms of a transfer fee either way. Also, the thing about Ronaldo, keep in mind, is that he's the kind of player who can play, a few more years. It's not just the end of his contract. It's not going to be the end of his career. At which point, I'm sure that Juve and him will mutually take stock of things. Clearly, his salary at the moment is a heavy burden, on the club. But if they're offsetting this in terms of success on the pitch, they're offsetting this in terms of, how much it's helping the global image of the club. I think all of those factors are bound to be considered. I was reading somewhere Juve is now the #1 Italian brand on Instagram or social media, which is largely the Cristiano effect. Whether you love him or hate him, the man is a brand, and you've got to respect that. So I think all of these moving parts have to be considered by the club before they take an eventual decision. But to your point, we're not really looking at capitalizing in transfer fee. I don't think that's going to be the case with Cristiano.
Also, the fact is that as long as Cristiano is at whatever club he plays for, he will start. So he will take up that. One of those 11 will be Cristiano. Whether it works to favor of the team in total, or it works for Cristiano because it is Cristiano who will eventually end up scoring the goals, most of the goals. We don't know. It will be a whole transition. It will be very interesting to see what happens with Juve once Cristiano leaves. What will happen? What will they do with that vacant spot from the left wing striker? whatnot. Depends on where really he is playing, but it'll be a huge transition.
We are in a way kind of planning for that. If you kind of see signings like Kulusevski, you see Morata, you see Dybala, yeah, you feel like we're probably one signing away from completing, you know, the succession from moving off the Ronaldo map into, you know, building something that's more cohesive as a frontline unit.
Yeah, true. Moving on to a question, or yeah, it is basically a question regarding to Paulo Dybala. Fan favorite, of course. A question from Juve Daily is: do we think that he will stay in the next 5 years? Well, we've been waiting for that contract extension for 5 years. It's never happening. Well, it hasn't happened yet. And the latest twist is that Dybala wants 12 or 13 million or 15 million or so, but we are only offering him half of it. And that's it. That's the latest we've heard. There's basically never been any more transfer stories or contract stories during the summer. It's been very, very quiet around Paulo Dybala, maybe because he's been injured throughout the whole summer, but it also may be the fact that nobody could barely bother with even discussing with Juve again regarding Dybala. I don't know, but this is very, very interesting. Very interesting topic with Paulo Dybala. Does he reach? He will reach his full potential. He's at Juve under Pirlo, or maybe it's time to cut him loose and maybe if he finds some place better where he can really thrive. I don't know. This is I don't know what you think about this, DJ.
Well, you know, Roman, think about Dybala. I love him. I just love his attitude. I love how much he loves the club. I remember last season the amount we wanted to offload him, and he kept fighting it. He kept refusing. I love to see that, you know, in a player that he cares so greatly about the club, and then to come back from that and have the season that he had, it's hats off. You know, it shows great temperament. But I think there is one hook with Dybala, and I think Allegri has grappled with it. Sarri actually was pretty successful with it. Is where do you play Dybala? What is his key position in any formation? It's really hard to play. A guy with his skill set should have a more defined, well-edged role in any lineup, but his position is always suspect. And which is why I feel in modern day football, he's a very hard guy to fit in. You know, a lot of the big clubs, if you notice, they all play a 4-3-3. And they haven't really moved for a player like Dybala because they have the same problem that Allegri had with him. The same problem in many ways that Sarri had at the start. But then Sarri played him, you know, central. And, and we still don't know where he'll thrive. Hopefully in the 3-4-1-2, like you were saying, Ramsey in the hole, and you have Dybala and Ronaldo playing up front. That might just be the answer. But he's a guy who's not really got a position, you know, that he can call his own, and that's his problem. The man has phenomenal talent. To answer your question, do you think Paulo Dybala will stay the next 5 years? If left to the player, I think his intention is, to finish his career at Juve. From his attitude on the pitch, from his the way he came back last season. But will he stay? I think that's still up in the air. You know, there's a reason why the management has been trying to offload him. There's a reason why Allegri struggled with him. It's not temperament. It's just I think it's there's a tactical doubt with regard to his characteristics.
Do you see Kulusevski arrival as a replacement for Dybala, or can those two guys play together?
Well, they can coexist for sure. They can. I see Kulusevski as somebody who plays, who can play in central midfield. I see him play closer to goal in the hole as a cam. I see him out wide. I think Dybala's best position from everything is closest to goal. You know, even if you play him as a 4-9, if we had a 3-man top, you play him as a 4-9, I think he'd be great. But anytime that he has to fall back, I think that's what negates his core skill set, because his ability to score goals is something that now needs to come to the fore, and I think Sarri, the one positive, from Sarri's season was that he managed to accommodate both Ronaldo and Dybala. And when it worked, it was like magic.
Yeah. We will have to wait and see what he will do under Pirlo. He was supposed to start against Napoli, ironically. Of course, the match never happened, so we will still have to wait and see what he will do under Pirlo. But the talent is there, the quality is there as well. The only thing that we lack is continuity and finding his true position. Yes, DJ, I agree. And this is a player that, as soon as you have this number 10 jersey, Pogba being maybe a slight exception, being that one season wonder when he wore the number 10. Basically, he was on the way out of the club already. We all knew it was going to happen eventually. But we had Tevez, we had, of course, Alessandro Del Piero, we had Roberto Baggio, we had Michel Platini. Exceptional talent throughout the history of the number 10. And now comes Dybala, and the expectation is, of course, this is the number 10 shirt. You don't give it to anybody. Alessandro Del Piero scored tons of goals for us with the number 10 shirt. So naturally, we expect the same from Dybala. So the expectation is there from the fans. Maybe somewhat unfair, I don't know, but this is what it is. And of course, as you say perfectly, last season when the club wanted him gone, he fought for the place. He basically had maybe one of his most successful seasons. One of the few players. He actually won the MVP last season.
Correct.
So yeah, we still have to wait and see under Pirlo, but I'm intrigued with both Kulusevski, Cristiano, and Dybala together, and Morata as a joker card, bonus at the end of the day. So we'll see. Moving on to another question. Can Chiesa, this going Ziad, welcome Ziad. I saw your question previously. Can Chiesa be as good as Di Livio? This is going back, DJ. Di Livio, do you remember him as a player?
Angelo, of course.
Yes. Well, can Chiesa be as good?
Well, Ziad, the game is very different today. Though the similarities are that Chiesa also is a grinta player. So he's got that Juve, old school Juve grinta about him. And it's not fair to kind of make these comparisons so early on. I think we need to give him a season and a half, maybe, to break in, find his rhythm, not just in the team, but within a club the size of Juve, So let's give it a little bit of time and then probably see more appropriate comparisons. It's the same with McKennie. That they saw him one game in and they were like, this guy is the new Pitbull, Edgar Davids. Now, these are people who have built a legacy over a period of time. And, so it's not fair also to the youngster that, you make that comparison and put that weight of expectation on him. So let's give it a bit of time and let's see how these guys develop,
Just a comment there from Senior as well. Now we have Chiesa, Arthur, and Kulusevski. You should avoid Dybala, need to track back too often. Yes, I agree. And also to answer the question from Kenneth, this shirt right there, yes, it is Takinade. I'm not sure if you can see that. Yeah, it is the one. And also we have the good almighty Milos Krasic following. So there we go. Now we have Chiesa, Arthur, and Kulusevski. Yes, we do. So, I mean, Dybala is this is what's so intriguing. So right now, actually, we have space for Dybala to develop offensively. With Allegri last season, we saw him tracking back, connecting the midfield to the attack too much. But now this season will be totally different. So hopefully, at least. And then there were some questions about our preferred starting 11. The Champions League, we are done talking to, and now the starting 11. Of course, the thing is, with starting 11 is all up to Pirlo to decide. We barely know what system he is playing. DJ says that this is a 4-4-2 / 3-5-2 in transition between those two. It's a very dynamic system. But when we know what we know now, I mean, the squad, DJ, we have Chiesa, we have Arthur, we have McKennies, we have Di Frabotta. When Bernardeschi will be back, when Dybala will be back in the team, what is your preferred starting lineup?
So I mean, seeing this hybrid, so to me it is a 3-4-1-2 and a 3-4-3 in attack. It's a 4-4-2 in defense. So I would essentially like three pure centre backs. So I think once can we count Lit as the ideal in the lineup, or because of his injury you're talking about the present?
No, just put him in.
Okay, so I'd go with the Lit, Bonucci, Chiellini backline. I'd like to play Chiesa out wide instead of Cuadrado, and I'd like to play Sandro out left over Frabotta for now. I would play Arthur and Bentancur in the middle. I'd play Kulu in the hole, and I'd play Dybala and Ronaldo up top. That would be, to me, an optimized position. Also keep in mind that between Bentan and three CBs, you know that Ronaldo and Dybala don't track back as much. So that playing that extra center back is probably going to do us good.
Yeah. That's you forgot about the goalkeeper, but I guess it's Wojciech Szczesny.
Sir Chesney, as they call him on TV, Sir Chesney.
Yes, actually, yes, DJ. I saw that video. Quite funny. You actually was it live?
We had to ask a question. So we sent in our question, and then they played it. But he was live, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Funny. Yeah. So DJ asked the question. What was the question to Wojciech, DJ?
Well, it was a very pertinent question. Something that was playing, on my mind, which was about what are the early impressions of Pirlo as a coach? Is he coming across as somebody who's a tactician, or is he coming across as somebody who's a man manager? Because when you look at these personalities and the amount of success they've had, it's clear that charisma plays a big part in the dressing room. When I look at Zinedine Zidane and I see him as a coach, I know what he's doing is he's really got a fully loaded squad. What he needs to do is make it a cohesive unit, and to do that, you need to learn to manage egos, which was what I wanted to know. What were the early indications? Is he coming across as someone who's tactically obsessed, like an Allegri, or is he coming across as someone who is bringing the team together, where you teach everybody to play for the team, and sacrifice for each other? I think the early indications were that yes, he is a man manager, but he's an Italian at the end of the day. So it's almost like he's a born tactician. So it might just be a bit of both. So will be interesting to see. Though Roman, if I have to put my finger on it, I think he's the kind of guy who's bringing the team together as a unit. So I think for me the early indications are he's more a man manager than a tactician.
Yeah, Wojciech Szczesny, of course, he has, along with his friend, they have their own YouTube channel. I can't quite recall the name, but they do have it, actually. It's quite funny. So they had both, they have even Aaron Ramsey had as a guest, and some other players as well. So yeah, it's quite nice channel. Regarding to your starting 11, I totally agree, actually, with the whole 11. But some guys, Mirgan, he doesn't want Bonucci in the lineup. And this is also a guy that we haven't talked so much about during this live. Leonardo Bonucci and his, well, I guess he's been criticized for his defending, or rather his strange way of defending, call it like that is. But he was actually one of our better players during the first part of the last season. Very stable, very secure. He was the captain of the team since, when Chiellini was out injured. But then it just, after the COVID, it just broke down and he looked very insecure, very, very insecure. What is Bonucci? What's your take on Bonucci? And I mean, should he when De Ligt is back and we are playing, let's say we're playing with 2 and not 3 at the back, should Bonucci be rested? I mean, benched?
So, Miriam and Roman, to the both of you all, I'm personally not a Bonucci fan. Though having said that, I think Bonucci is an important player in a 3-man defensive lineup, largely because of his ability to distribute the ball. That has to be considered. If I look at a 4-man defense as we did under Sarri, I think Bonucci's key, attributes really are about how he distributes the ball and his skill on the ball. When I look at him as a pure out-and-out defender, in an old-school footballing sense, I think he's a very limited player. He's had the privilege of playing alongside Barza and Chiellini, which has kind of carried him for most part for a better part of his career. So from that perspective, it helped build an aura about him and around him. But it's clear he will always struggle when you run at him with the ball. He does this, very weird defensive move where he puts his left leg behind his right, trying to stop the ball from the other side. It's he struggles against pace. It's clear. He's got a good understanding in terms of distributing the ball, and the on-ball skill is great, which is why he's important in a 3-man defensive lineup till the time that we see Demiral, any indication of Demiral developing, because nobody else in the lineup currently has Bonucci's ability to distribute the ball. If we were to look at an out-and-out 4-man defense with 2 central backs, I would drop Bonucci and I would go with Chiellini and De Ligt in the center. To me, that is as European and as high-press a defense as can be.
Yeah, this is also a comment from Mirgan that he has broken down since joining Milan. Yes, and also the fact that, as DJ also says, that he was also always protected in the fact that Chiellini and Barzagli was there to help him out, basically. They were mainly, most importantly, their main task was defending. But with Bonucci, it was more of a distribution of the ball going forward. But since the Milan transfer, since this nonsense when he went to Milan because he didn't feel important or whatever, and then he celebrated at the J Stadium when he scored for Milan against Juve, and then since that moment he has been called a snake by the fans, even though he has returned. So he's never been a fan favorite since then, and of course his latest performance didn't help. And I know this is a player that's maybe this should be a player that we should, if like you say regarding to Demiral and De Ligt, maybe Bonucci and Chiellini will leave at the same season because we need rejuvenation probably. I don't know, because Chiellini looks like he's coming up to the end of his career. The injuries are piling up. Right now he looks good, but you know how it is. Suddenly Chiellini is out injured. So I fear that maybe this is this is maybe the last season for Giorgio Chiellini. It might happen. For whatever reason. It might be injuries, might be just the age. I don't know. We'll see. But it could very well be Bonucci's as well. I don't know.
Well, I tend to agree as far as Chiellini goes. He's one injury away from just calling time on his career. It's really hard to come back from, what he's come back from with the ACL at age 36. By the time you hit your stride again. But Chiellini's been exceptional in with the early indications that we've gotten. Though, having said that, Roman, I don't see Bonucci, be let go of just yet, because there will have to be some kind of succession plan. We have De Ligt just breaking in, so Bonucci obviously will play alongside him till the time that Demiral kind of, comes into his own. Also, Bonucci and Chiellini have a little bit of an age difference. So that age gap is probably going to help the succession plan as far as the club goes.
Yeah, could very well. But this is just a speculation anyway. I mean, of course, with Bonucci, it's most likely the most logical, most realistic solution is he will gonna stay out his contract for however years that is, probably extend it for 1 or 2 more years and end up retiring at the club. So I see him logically, more realistically, like being the Chiellini that Chiellini is now. So, but when Chiellini is off, could very well be this season, then De Ligt and Demiral will be ready to step up. And of course, Rugani, we'll not forget Rugani. Of course, now he's down at Rennes on loan. We'll see what happens with him if he is going to play there. This is a vital season for Rugani, by the way. If he is playing 30 games or whatnot for Rennes this season, we will see the true quality of the guy. What is his status, basically? If he is really impressing, evolves, improves this season, then we'll maybe have a shot at Juve next season as a third or fourth choice, whatnot. But if he still struggles to play even at Rennes, then I'm sorry. Then this is a player not good enough. I have yet to see anything good with Rugani. So this is the chance for him to improve, to impress both Juve fans and also himself, basically, because he hasn't played that much in recent years.
So, yeah, I tend to agree. I think the problem with Rugani largely is, I feel like he's a very timid player. And I think that is what, he's like one of those good kids, and Juve has backed him, now a couple of seasons where he's had the backing of the coach. We chose him over Caldara. So there was a clear, path for Rugani, but I think like he's had opportunity after opportunity and just hasn't stepped up. So I feel like his ship has sailed at Juve. He's probably going to come back with a view to probably selling him again with probably a higher value given continuity at Run.
There is a comment from Animesh. Sad to see no Italian defenders coming through. I would love to sign us Romagnoli. I don't think Romagnoli is good enough, to be quite honest. But yes, Bastoni from Senior, also a good comment there. Bastoni is excellent, a youngster for Merda. But yes, there are not so many defenders, Italian defenders anymore, as we would like to be. We have the Maldinis, the Baresis, the Nesta, of course, Chiellini. This is all reminisce and going back to the good old days of Italian defensive football. But it is what it is. The football evolves, and we must do so as well. Yes. So just a couple of the questions more, and then we'll wrap up. We have almost 2 hours of our stream. I think we'll wrap up soon. Just give us five more minutes and whatnot, and then we'll wrap this up. I don't know, DJ. How do you feel about this season? Do you think we're gonna win?
I'm not sure, Roman. But I'm really
Me neither. Yeah, and I'm as well.
I'm much more excited this time of year than I was last year. Even though I was skeptical last year, this year I do feel like there's another team that has the edge. But I'm still really excited with the project. We finally have a project, and I think that's what this club has been lacking for a while now. It's 2 or 3 seasons to see guys like Khedira just in the medical room all the time. And then see that midfield labor through like Pjanic. When we signed him, I thought like great talent, but he didn't do anything for the last couple of seasons, and we were crying in midfield. We were crying out for the right kind of signings, and Paratici has just gone out and done it this year, and it's going to be so different. So I'm just really excited to see where this takes us.
Yeah. And also, I was about to ask you about this one, but it's great that Mirgan mentioned it. What do you think about Atalanta and their season going forward? For me personally, Atalanta are crazy, absolutely insane. They have unique style of play. They are fearless, and what is so unique with Atalanta is that if you take out one player from the team, maybe apart from Papu Gomez, if you take one player out of the team and put it in Juve, that player will not start. Apart maybe Papu Gomez or Robert Gosens as a left wing back. because I feel that this team is so built for each other. They make each other so good. They thrive off each other, and this is what creates goals. I doubt that Luis Muriel would start for us. I doubt that Duvan Zapata would start for us. So maybe Robert Gosens at the left wing back, because this is what we need. But apart from that, this is a unit. This is a very dangerous unit, and they were minutes away from the Champions League semi-final last season. So, as Mirgan says, he thinks that there's to be a really big chance that they're winning this season. I tend to agree. I'm not sure about the depth of the squad, but DJ, Atalanta, I don't know if you know much about them, but if you do you have any opinion?
So, guys, Atlanta is my favorite team in the league to watch for the last season. I think Gasp has done a brilliant job with them.
Fantastic.
They are probably the most cohesive unit I have seen after Bayern in Europe this season. You know, the one that went by. As far as their chances in the league go, again, I think it's going to come down to depth. Every time we speak of the league, let's not forget two critical things. There is now a 5-man sub rule, which means the teams with the most depth definitely have an edge in terms of freshness.
That's a good point.
How intermittent things are going to be with COVID, because I'm suspecting there will probably be a little bit more stop-start. That does affect player form. Mentality comes into play. Atlanta don't have that experience of going that deep till the end. They did it last year. I'm not sure if they can repeat it, but if they did, hats off, because I'd like no other team to place Juve off the perch than Atlanta.
Yeah, true. Even though it's Nerazzurri. But it is what it is. Yeah, Atalanta are...
We've got Gasparini there with the Juve connection, so it doesn't hurt as much.
Yes, exactly. And they also very exciting Champions League group as well, with Ajax and Liverpool and Midtjylland from Denmark, I believe. So exciting season ahead, guys. Very, very exciting. So maybe if we don't win the 10th Scudetto, maybe it will be Atalanta.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I think it's time to wrap up. Thank you so very, very much to all of you who joined us throughout these 2 hours. I hope you enjoyed this stream. It's a good night from Juve Daily. I see it is indeed. And also, okay, we have a last comment. We have a last comment from Mr. Trinidad and Tobago. Last year, Juventus was the oldest team in Europe, but things have changed. We are a much younger team with much more legs. Yes, we agree. I'm not sure if the quality is up to par to the age average, but it is exciting at least. So we have big expectations for Federico Chiesa, Di McKennies, and of course, Arthur. And kudos to you, DJ, from Senior. First time I've listened to you, but your analysis is first class. So, and Senior, this is also a guy who knows his stuff. I think his name is Ivan. And yes, and maybe we will see Ivan in our next live. I haven't spoken to him personally, but this is breaking just direct message to Senior. I'd love to see you on my live next time. So if you're up for it, let's do this. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Enjoy your evening wherever you may be in this world. Stay safe from this COVID nonsense. Use your mask. This is what it is. DJ, I appreciate you for joining, and good luck to you with Juventus India, and of course with your job also. And we'll speak to you next time. Guys, follow me on the channel, of course. Comment down below if you don't see this live. The comment section will come up eventually, and discuss what we discussed here. Do you agree with the lineup that we eventually our present our wishful starting lineup? Do you agree with what we're going to do this season? Just discuss in the comment section, and of course subscribe to this channel. Have a good evening. Ciao, fino alla fine.